So next is your quantitative platelet disorder. So we're done with qualitative. Let's proceed to quantitative naman. So kung kanina quality ng platelet, ngayon, it depends on the number. Okay, the quantity. So decrease deals with increase and decrease of platelet count resulting to bleeding or thrombosis. So meron kayong thrombocytosis and thrombocytopenia. Pag cytosis, increase in platelet count or increase in number. Okay? Pagka cytopenia, penia means decrease. Okay? Penia means decrease. Okay. So for thrombocytopenia, okay, a normal platelet count is ranges from around 150,000 to 450,000 microliter. Okay? Pag thrombocytopenia, below 100. Okay, below 100. And the clinical significance most often um that cause significant bleeding, and usually artifacts such as your platelet clumping or satelloidosis should be ruled out before diagnosing through so thrombocytopenia because this platelet clumping and satelloidosis can cause false or pseudo thrombocytopenia. Your mucocutaneous bleeding is a hallmark presented as petechiae, which is usually approximately 1 millimeter in size. Purpura is approximately 3 millimeter. And ecchymosis, which is less than 1 centimeter, irregular shape, commonly known as your bruises. So a hematoma is a different one. Hematoma is already a bulge. No? May bulge na meaning may leakage na ng blood into your into your skin and could manifest with bulge. No? Unlike your ecchymosis, it is flat. Okay, flat leakage of your blood. That is your pasa. Okay? So, risk of bleeding usually more than 50,000 unlikely to cause significant bleeding but less than has an increase progressively and less than 10,000 severe spontaneous bleeding ang possible mangyari. Okay. So this is a picture depicting your purpura, okay, your ecchymosis, and even your petechiae. So mas maliit ang petechiae kaysa kay purpura, and si ecchymosis ay medyo malaki. So this is a human patient, yan. Petechiae, purpura, and your ecchymosis. For your thrombocytopenia, there would be pathophysiological cause. First is decreased platelet production. Okay, wherein the bone marrow disorder and aplastic anemia could be the cause. Increased platelet destruction due to immune thrombocytopenic purpura, disseminated intravascular coagulation, and even lastly is your abnormal platelet distribution or sequestration, wherein you could manifest with hypersplenism, okay, reducing the number of circulating platelets. So for the decreased platelet production, you could see congenital types of impaired platelet production, neonatal thrombocytopenia, and acquired impaired platelet production. So for thrombocytopenia, due to congenital decrease platelet production due to congenital cause, the thrombocytopenia due to decreased platelet production can result from megakaryocyte hypoplasia, wherein reduced megakaryocyte count in the bone marrow. Ineffective thrombopoiesis, okay, there would be defect in platelet formation, and this disorder may be linked to gene-specific mutation, okay, or chromosomal abnormalities that can follow various inheritance pattern. So, for example, you do have your disorder with your megakaryocytic hypoplasia such as your Fanconi's anemia, which is na inheritance is autosomal dominant, and the findings are usually pancytopenia affecting all types of your cells such as your RBC, WBC, and platelet. For your skeletal abnormalities can also be seen, okay, and increased risk of leukemia. For TAR or thrombocytopenia with absent radius or AD, okay, inheritance pattern is autosomal recessive and the findings is severe neonatal thrombocytopenia. As we remember, your long bones is the site for hematopoiesis and even your megakaryopoiesis. There would be an absent or malformed radial bone and possible cardiac defects. Okay? You could also observe leukemoid reactions. Okay? Okay, more than 100,000 WBC in infancy. And the platelet count improves with age. So as you age, no, medyo okay siya because of the compensation of your other bones. Next is your CAMT or your congenital megakaryocytic thrombocytopenia. The inheritance pattern is autosomal recessive and the findings are usually severe thrombocytopenia at birth with less than 20,000 K per microliter. Petechy and bleeding at birth can be also observed and risk of aplastic anemia and leukemia could be related to your CAMT. Okay? The mutation in your MPL gene, so there would be a defective thrombopoietin receptor and allogenic stem cell transplantation is the curative or the treatment for this one. Next, disorder with abnormal platelet morphology, which are usually large platelet and inclusions. So you could have your Meheglin anomaly, autosomal dominant, findings large platelet up to more than 20 micrometer in diameter, presence of doe-like bodies in your neutrophil, variable thrombocytopenia but usually normal platelet function, and mutation in your MYH9 gene for your Meheglin. Okay? So, related disorder is usually your Sebastian, okay, Pechner, and your Epstein. For your Sebastian, they would manifest with your large platelet, thrombocytopenia, and granulocytic inclusion such as your Dole bodies. Pag Pechner syndrome, similar to Sebastian plus deafness. May pagkabingi, cataract, and nephritis, involvement of your kidneys. Pag Epstein-Barr naman, okay, wala lang siyang involvement ng, okay, this is similar naman to Pechner's. Okay? Next, other inherited thrombocytopenia, you have your autosomal dominant thrombocytopenia with ANKRD26 or ANKYR mutation. Okay, mutation in this gene on your chromosome 10, long arms 12.1. The findings could be incomplete megakaryocyte differentiation, normal platelet morphology, and even absent or mild bleeding tendency. So other inherited, your X-linked thrombocytopenia, such as your WAS and your GATA1 mutation. So on your WAS gene, your viscous Aldrich, so on your chromosome X, long arms 11.12. And on your GATA1 is long arms, same with your WAS. Okay, but the variable in severity. So the findings is usually small or large platelet with mild to severe thrombocytopenia. Bleeding severity depends upon your mutation. So mas severe si WASP. Next is neonatal thrombocytopenia. So incidence usually affects 1 to 5% of newborns and the onset is around 75% of the cases occurs at or within 72 hours of birth. So this is an early onset, okay? Causes include impaired platelet production, increased destruction or sequestration, okay? And most common cause, impaired platelet production, okay? Especially in the preterm infants with placental insufficiency, okay? Next, infection, no? Usually the torch or torches such as your toxoplasmosis, others such as your syphilis, varicella, parvo, B19, rubella, CMV, and even herpes. Your HIV is also included. And your Epstein-Barr. Most common is your cytomegalovirus, okay, infection. So incidence is around 0.5 to 1 of all births and only 10% to 15% of infected infants show symptoms. So the mechanism of your cytomegalovirus, it inhibits your megakaryocyte maturation, leading to your decreased platelet production. For the congenital toxoplasmosis, usually affects 1 in 1,000 to 1 into 3,000 infants. And usually, 40% of these patients only develop thrombocytopenia. For congenital rubella, this is rare due to the presence of your vaccination. Okay? Next is drug-induced neonatal thrombocytopenia. So maternal use of drugs affecting the fetal megakaryocytes includes your chlorothiazide diuretics, such as also with your tolbutamide, such as your sulfonylureas. Oral hypoglycemic agent can cause thrombocytopenia. Okay? Findings usually severe thrombocytosis, approximately less than or around 70 micrometer or lower. So the bone marrow, decrease or absent megakaryocyte, and slow recovery after birth. Impaired platelet production, okay, which is the most common cause of your neonatal thrombocytopenia, seen in preterm neonates with placental insufficiency, for example, such as in your eclampsia and fetal hypoxia. Key example are your intrauterine growth restriction, and the findings are usually early onset thrombocytopenia and increased thrombopoietin but defective megacardiopoiesis. Next is increased platelet consumption and sequestration. So around 15 to 25% of neonatal thrombocytopenia cases. So the common cause of this is usually maternal alloantibodies. Okay, around 15 to 20%. So neonatal alloimmune thrombocytopenia and maternal immune thrombocytopenic purpura. Also, DIC could be associated with this common in critically ill patient, specifically for perinatal asphyxia and sepsis. Thrombosis and platelet activation seen in necrotizing enterocolitis and even sepsis. For your splenic sequestration, can be seen in conditions such as your sepsis, congenital infection, and even in liver diseases. Next, cause of neonatal thrombocytopenia as to inherited thrombocytopenia, rare but increasingly recognized. It includes your CAMT, TAR, okay, Mehiglin anomaly, Bernard-Solier, Wiskott-Aldrich, and your WAS. Okay, so for your impaired platelet production, acquired causes. So usually acquired thrombocytopenia due to impaired platelet production occurs due to bone marrow suppression. Okay? Ineffective thrombopoiesis, infections, okay, drug and bone marrow infiltration by malignancy. So the drug-induced bone marrow hypoplasia, the common mechanism, okay, of course, many drugs can suppress your megakaryocyte production, leading to thrombocytopenia. Most affected drugs are usually your chemotherapeutic agents, such as your methotrexate, busulfan, okay, cytosine, arabinoside, okay, cyclophosphamide, and cisplatin. Okay. So dose limiting toxicity can cause severe thrombocytopenia and high risk for hemorrhage, but the treatment usually we could utilize recombinant interleukin 11 and thrombopoietin analogs. If you could remember in your platelet maturation or your megakaryopoiesis, the important chemical messenger of our is your maturation process is your interleukin 11, which is present all throughout your thrombopoiesis. Okay, next is your sudobudin, sudobudin or your HIV treatment usually causes myelotoxicity and severe thrombocytopenia. Okay, Anelagride used for thrombocytosis in essential thrombocythemia and specifically inhibits your megakaryocytic development. For your induced bone marrow hypoplasia, okay, ethanol or chronic alcohol use could cause also inhibition of your megakaryocytic development, okay, common in alcoholic patient but may be worsen in portal hypertension, splenomegaly, and folate deficiency, which is also seen during alcohol or chronic alcohol consumption. And recovery, platelet count returns to normal within weeks of alcohol withdrawal. Rebound thrombocytosis may occur after stopping alcohol. Okay? Interferon therapy. Interferon alpha and gamma inhibits your stem cell differentiation and proliferation and can lead also to severe thrombocytopenia. For your hormonal or other medications such as your estrogen, diethyl stilbestrol suppresses megakaryocyte production also. And your chloramphenicol, tranquilizer, anticonvulsant, also suppresses bone marrow activity. Next, ineffective thrombocytosis, thrombopoiesis. You have your megaloblastic anemia, okay, caused by vitamin B12 or folate deficiency. Again, there would be impaired DNA synthesis and defective megakaryocyte and decreased platelet release. Okay, the bone marrow increased megakaryocytes but abnormal nuclear morphology could be seen as a dumbbell-shaped nuclei, okay, and that will be removed, okay, by your system. Okay, peripheral smear, they would seen as a large platelets, okay, may have decreased survival and function. And thrombocytopenia is usually mild and resolves after 1 to 2 weeks after vitamin replacement. Infection associated with thrombocytopenia, usually, okay, mechanism is due to direct viral suppression of your megakaryocyte, immune-mediated destruction, and even platelet endothelial interaction. So for viruses, measles vaccine causes megakaryocyte vacculation at around 6 to 8 days post-vaccination. Your cytomegalo, varicella zoster, rubella, Epstein-Barr, okay? And dengue or Thai hemorrhagic fever, okay, some viruses bind directly to the platelet receptor. Okay. So for your bacterial infection, you could also see in meningococcemia and bacterial sepsis, decreased platelet count as to the bacterial toxin directly suppresses your platelet production. Okay, bacterial platelet interaction and even endothelial damage leading to DIC and platelet consumption. So for um, marrow infiltration by malignancy. So mechanism, the replacement of normal megakaryocyte by malignant cells are seen and condition associated are multiple myeloma, lymphoma, metastatic cancer, myelofibrosis, and even malignant cell may release inhibitory processes for your thrombopoiesis. Next, for increased platelet destruction, you have your immune mechanism, okay, of platelet destruction and non-immune mechanism. For this one, okay, for immune, due to antibody, autoantibody mediated. Pag non-immune naman, could be due to mechanical damage and excessive platelet consumption or sequestration. First is your ITP or immune thrombocytopenic purpura. So for immune thrombocytopenic purpura, okay, is an acquired disorder characterized by immune-mediated platelet destruction. It was previously known as idiopathic kasi nga the cause is unknown, no? But now the term immune is replaced the idiopathic after recognizing that the immune-mediated condition, okay, is responsible for this type of platelet dysfunction. So ITP is classified into acute ITP and chronic ITP with distinct epidemiological and clinical pictures. For acute ITP, so epidemiology and etiology, so usually primarily they affects children pag acute, no? Incident is usually 4 per 100,000 children. There is no sex predilection and precedes by viral infection. Usually, you would notice that the thrombocytopenia would be after viral infection or after vaccination with your MMR, okay, DPT, polio, and hepatitis A or B. This is associated with antibody or immune complex formation, okay, against viral antigen that cross-react with your platelets. So yung antibodies na napo-form mo during vaccination or during infection, inaatake din yung platelets mo that causes your thrombocytopenia. So clinical presentation, they could have easy bruising, okay, petechiae and mucosal bleeding, epistaxis, and even um, gum bleeding. Okay. Next is thrombocytopenia, appears around 1 to 3 weeks after infection, and severe cases, less than 10,000 platelets per UL may lead to GI bleeding, hematuria, retinal hemorrhage, or intracranial hemorrhage can be observed. So for intracranial hemorrhage, this is the most severe complication and the mortality rate is around 0.6%. For autoimmune, acute autoimmune, key the diagnosis is based on clinical presentation with severe thrombocytopenia and normal RBC and WBC morphology. The bone marrow biopsy is unnecessary unless atypical features are present and no specific diagnostic test is seen for your ITP. How do we manage? This is a self-limiting, okay, around 80 to 90% of the cases, and platelet counts recover within 3 to 6 months after infection. And the treatment is only needed for severe bleeding. So the first line of treatment is corticosteroids, okay, intravenous immunoglobulin, and your anti-D immunoglobulin. Okay. The severe cases, usually we could combine platelet transfusion and IV IG. Okay, about 10 to 15% develop chronic ITP if they have acute ITP. Okay. So, next is chronic immune or chronic ITP, most common in adults, okay, and common in females. So, incidence rate is 1 to 3 cases per 100,000 per year, may be associated with other conditions such as your HIV, lupus, or even in pregnancy. So, the pathophysiology, there would be autoantibodies against platelet glycoprotein, specifically your GP2B3A, GP1A2A, and GP1B9 complex. That is the target for destruction of your immune system. And spleen plays a major role in platelet destruction. Megakaryocytes are also affected, leading to impaired platelet production. And usually, the platelet lifespan is reduced from 7 days to 10 days to few hours. So sobrang ikli na nung buhay nung platelet natin. And the clinical presentation, gradual onset of mucocutaneous bleeding such as your menorrhagia, recurrent epistaxis, easy bruising, and purpura is seen. You could also see fluctuating platelet counts, okay, were around 30 to 80 micrometer per liter, and with episodes of exacerbation and remission. So platelet morphology, usually normal, but can be seen as large, okay, and increased MPB is seen. Diagnosis, PBS, we could see large platelet and no other hematologic abnormalities. On the bone marrow, we could see hyperplasia of your megakaryocyte, and the platelet-associated IgG is elevated but not diagnostic. So management, we utilize your corticosteroids such as your prednisone, okay, to suppress your immune response or to decrease the production of your immunoglobulins. Okay, around 70 to 90 response rate. Okay, the IVIG or anti-D immunoglobulin if steroid fails to respond. And you can utilize your rituximab. This is an anti-CD20 monoclonal antibody specifically for refractory cases. For splenectomy, this is an option for storage refractory cases, okay, and thrombopoietin receptor agonist, okay, for patient with refractory ITP could be used. So the chemotherapy, we could utilize azathioprine and immunosuppressant for severe refractory case. And your platelet transfusion is only used for emergency. So this is the comparison between the two, the acute and the chronic ITP. Next is your immunologic drug, uh, induced thrombocytopenia. So the DITP, okay, occurs when drug-dependent autoantibodies trigger, okay, platelet destruction, typically within 1 to 2 weeks of drug exposure. So it is classified as an immune mechanism because your drug produces antibodies. Okay? Or your body produces antibodies against the drug. So first is the drug-dependent antibodies, wherein it occurs with drug like your quinine, quinidine, and sulfonamides. Okay, antibodies usually produce are in response to your GP1B 95 complex or your GP2B3A complex. The presence of the drug leading to severe thrombocytopenia. Okay? So next is hapten-induced antibodies. So certain small drug molecule acts as an hapten. For example, your penicillin. Okay, they can bind to platelet protein forming your immune targets. Okay, that could cause also severe thrombocytopenia with bleeding risk. For drug-induced autoantibodies, such as your gold salts, procainamide, and levodopa, that induces antibodies that bind with platelets without requiring the drug presence. It could cause persistent thrombocytopenia after drug withdrawal. So pag drug-induced autoantibodies, kahit wala yung drug, pwede ka mag-cause or maglabas ng antibodies. Next is your immune complex induced thrombocytopenia or your heparin induced thrombocytopenia. So your heparin binds to platelet factor 4, creating new antigenic target. And these IgG antibodies form with immune complex, activating platelets and leading to thrombosis rather than bleeding. And your platelet count is typically drops for about 5 to 14 days after heparin exposure, but rarely below 15,000. So ano nangyayari dito? So pag uminom ka na ng heparin, after pa ng 5 to 15 after 5 to 14 days, tsaka ka pa lang magkakos ng decrease due to the antibodies. Okay? So the management of the DIPP or the drug-induced, usually identify the drug and discontinue. Of course, tanggalin natin kung yun yung cause. Okay? The IVG therapy, IVIG is often effective and platelet transfusion are used in life-threatening bleeding, but transfused platelet may also be rapidly destroyed since there is already a presence of your autoantibodies. And your HIT requires switching to a non-heparin anticoagulant such as your agatroban. Next, your neonatal alloimmune thrombocytopenia. Okay? So, this usually causes maternal IgG antibodies that targets the fetal platelet antigen inherited from the father. Okay? So, most commonly antigen is HPA1A, okay, commonly seen in Caucasian, and the clinical picture is usually petechiae, purpura, and severe thrombocytopenia at birth. At birth pa lang. And usually intracranial hemorrhage in the utero. So, diagnosis, exclusion of maternal ITP and infection, and parenteral platelet antigen typing, and maternal antibody testing. So the management, usually C-section at around 36 to 37 weeks to prevent trauma. Kasi nga if magkaroon ng trauma si baby during normal spontaneous delivery, hindi niya kayang mag-clot ng blood. And you could utilize your IVIG therapy, okay, with or without wash maternal platelet transfusion. So next is This is usually caused by transplacental passage of maternal autoantibodies, okay, such as your ITP or your lupus-related antibodies, wherein this destroys your fetal platelets. Okay? The clinical features is gradual platelet decline in first week of life and may persist 2 months. And the treatment, again, okay, IVIG in severe cases and platelet transfusion or corticosteroids if bleeding occurs. Next is post-transfusion purpura. So cause is rare immune reaction occurring 1 week post-transfusion if the patient lacks specific platelet antigen. And the clinical features is severe thrombocytopenia and hemorrhage, and the treatment is IVIG as the first line treatment. You could utilize plasmapheresis in severe cases. For non-immune platelet destruction, the platelet destruction can occur without immune involvement due to exposure to non-endothelial surface activation of the coagulation process or platelet consumption from endovascular injury. Many of these conditions are classified as thrombotic, okay? So such as your microangiopathies, okay? And which are characterized by thrombocytopenia, clot formation, and microangiopathic hemolytic anemia. So common types of your thrombotic microangiopathies includes HUS, TTP, and TMA. Secondary to pregnancy complication, infection, drugs, or even systemic diseases. First is your thrombocytopenia in pregnancy and preeclampsia. So your gestational thrombocytopenia. So most common cause of your thrombocytopenia in pregnancy, okay, benign, there is no treatment needed, and affects about 5% of the pregnant women. So the platelet count is typically around 100,000 to 150,000 per UL and spontaneously resolved after delivery. So hindi to masyadong nagko-cause ng any abnormalities. Kasi nga, almost normal pa yung platelet count. As to the preeclampsia-associated thrombocytopenia, occurs at around 15 to 20% of the preeclampsia patient. Okay, 40 to 50% may develop preeclampsia. Okay, hypertension, seizure, and proteinuria is the hallmark of your preeclampsia. Some cases, it progresses to HELLP syndrome. So the HELLP syndrome is known as your hemolysis, elevated liver enzyme, and low platelets. So which increase the risk for mother and baby for bleeding. Thought to involve low-grade disseminated intravascular disorder, coagulation, and platelet destruction. But low-dose aspirin can reduce preeclampsia by around 15% in high-risk patient. And best management is the delivery of the baby. Otherwise, bed rest and blood pressure control could be utilized. So other cause of your thrombocytopenia in pregnancy, your ITP, HIV, okay, antiphospholipid syndrome, TTP, HUS. TTP in pregnancy occurs around 10 to 25% of cases and recurs in future pregnancy. Specifically, the plasma exchange is the main treatment. Next, your hemolytic disease of the newborn. So thrombocytopenia occurs in infants with hemolytic disease of the newborn due to indirect platelet destruction from red cell breakdown rather than immune mechanism. So nadadamay lang si platelet due to the RBC breakdown. Okay? Next is the TTP or thrombocytopenic purpura. Okay? Rare but serious disorder that usually an annual incidence of 1 per 1 million. Most common in women aged around 40 to 40 years, 30 to 40 years old. Twice as many women affected as men. So, it has a pentad symptoms. Okay, 5. MAHA, okay? Your thrombocytopenia, neurologic symptoms, fever, and kidney dysfunction. Okay, so yan dapat ang makikita nyo with TTP. And the types, usually we do have acute, recurrent, and drug-induced TTP. We also have your congenital. Pag acute, a single episode may occur randomly, okay, and could recover. Okay? Recurrent ITP occurs around 11 to 28% of the patient, and in drug-induced, usually caused by ticlopidine and clopidogrel. Your congenital, which is also known as your Upshaw-Shulman syndrome, which is due to the mutation of ADAMS13. And the ADAMS13, anong function ni ADAMS13? It would cut your very long chain von Willebrand factor. Okay? Wherein it will help to have proper coagulation system because long von Willebrand factor can cause coagulation or thrombosis due to um, trapping of many platelets in one site. So result in excess clot formation in small blood vessels. So Adams 13, okay, disintegrin and metalloproteinase with thrombospondin type 1 motif member 13. So that's your Adams 13. Okay, is a zinc-containing protease enzyme that plays a crucial role in blood clot coagulation by cleaving von Willebrand factor, a large glycoprotein involved in platelet adhesion and clot formation. And your function of your Adams 13, again, it regulates your blood clot by cutting your ultra large von Willebrand factor into smaller fragment, and it prevents, okay, excessive platelet aggregation and thrombosis. It also prevents TMA or your thrombotic microangiopathy. Without Adams 13, of course, your von Willebrand multimer, specifically the ultra-large, will accumulate the blood, causing platelet adhesion into small blood vessels. Okay? It can result in the conditions such as your TTP. Okay. Pathophysiology, the TTP is caused by severe deficiency of Adams 13, okay, leading to accumulation of ultra-large von Willebrand, which promotes excessive platelet clumping, okay, schistocytes, okay, common ng schistocytes, okay, in your peripheral smear. So, yan. So, this is your von Willebrand factor or the ultra-large. Ito yung Adams 13, okay? It will cut down into smaller pieces because no, pagka malaki masyado yan, mas madaming kakabit na platelet dito. And it could cause thrombosis. Okay? And usually clotting. Yan. So the lab findings, severe hemolysis, low haptoglobin, elevated LDH, and my normal coagulation test, okay, would help distinguish from DIC. And diagnosis and risk scoring, we could utilize your plasmic score to assess the severity of your Adams 13 deficiency that would help in your TTP diagnosis. It includes platelet count, hemolysis marker, INR, okay, creatinine, MCV, cancer history, and transplant history. High score correlates with better response to plasma exchange therapy. Treatment, of course, plasma exchange. First line, to remove ultra-large von Willebrand multimer and replenish your Adams 30 to reduce 90% your mortality from 90% to 20%. You could also use corticosteroid to suppress immune-mediated Adams 13 destruction and immunosuppressants such as rituximab, azathioprine, and vincristine used in refractory cases. Your recombinant Adams 13 is a potential future use for treatment, and platelet transfusion are avoided unless life-threatening bleeding occurs. Okay, prognosis and long-term monitoring. So relapse are common, requiring long-term platelet monitoring. Okay, and detection of ultra-large von Willebrand multimer after recovery predicts about relapse in 90% of cases. And the TPE and the immunosuppressive therapy improves survival significant. Next is your HUS. Okay, for HUS, this is a type of thrombotic microangiopathy like your TTP. So sa HUS naman, this is more common than your TTP. And the incidence rate is around 2 to 6 per 100,000 annually. And your HUS, 90% of the cases is caused by infection with your Shigella dysentery serotypes and even your enterohemorrhagic E. coli or EHEC serotype 0157H7. So the infection produced toxins such as your Shiga toxin or Shiga-like toxin that damage the kidney endothelial cell. So this toxin enters the bloodstream causing the renal endothelial damage and releases ultra-large von Willebrand multimers. So kung kanina kay TTP ang problem natin still ultra-large von Willebrand multimers, ngayon naman ang problem natin is same but no with the Shiga toxin. Kanina ang problema natin decrease in Adams 13. This leads to formation of hyaline thrombi in renal blood vessel causing your renal failure, thrombocytopenia, and even MAHA. So the clinical features, you could have triad naman. You could have hemolytic anemia, renal failure, and thrombocytopenia. And manifested with bloody diarrhea, proteinuria, and even RBC cast in urine due to your toxins. The RBC fragmentation is usually milder than TTP. So, mas common pa rin kay TTP schistocyte. But, no, you cannot distinguish the factor because sometimes your HUS can present with schistocyte. Most common in children is 6 months to 4 years, often in outbreak due to contaminated food or water with your reagents. So, comparison of your pediatric and adult HUS. In children, usually it is caused by infection and usually self-limiting. So, the renal function recovery depends on the severity of the case. And in adult, often linked to immunosuppressive or immunotherapy. Okay, postpartum cases have been reported and more severe renal failure requiring dialysis. And your von Willebrand factor-mediated platelet aggregation plays a major role in this adult HUS. Next is a typical HUS. Okay, this is a rare genetic and progressive form of HUS, not infection-related. And defect complement regulation is due to mutation in complement regulatory proteins such as your factor H. In your elucluzumab or Soliris, a brand name, complement inhibitor is the one approved by FDA for treatment. So this is the comparison of your HUS and TTP. Okay. Next is DIC. This is a widespread activation of coagulation such as your platelet consumption in fibrin-rich clots. So similar to TTP but distinct features. So your DIC contains fibrin or red clots versus the TTP thrombi which contains only von Willebrand and platelet or white clots. So the D-dimer is always positive with DIC. And acute DIC is life-threatening, rapid platelet and clotting factor consuming, okay, causing bleeding. And chronic DIC, low-grade coagulopathy may not be immediately dangerous. Next, your purpura fulminans. Okay? Acute life-threatening thrombotic disorder with rapid progression, progressing skin necrosis, common causes, neonates, okay, protein C deficiency, children and adults, sepsis with your Neisseria meningitidis, Streptococcus pneumoniae, and even SRUs. And severe coagulopathy, often requiring plasma and platelet transfusion is seen, and gangrene can lead to amputation or multi-organ failure. Okay? Non-induced drug non-induced thrombocytopenia. So some drug can cause platelet destruction without immune response, such as your ristocitin. This is formerly used as antibiotic but can cause platelet agglutination. Okay, hematine used for porphyria induces platelet secretion and aggregation, and protamine sulfate or bleomycin can cause platelet reduction. Last part, abnormalities in distribution or dilution. So normally the spleen sequesters 1/3 of total platelet, and splenomegaly or enlarged spleen, there could be more platelets are trapped and lowering the circulating platelets, okay, causing thrombocytopenia. Condition associated with splenomegaly are follow. So as follows, and end-stage liver disease such as in cirrhosis and portal hypertension. Okay, lymphoma such as Hodgkin and non-Hodgkin, leukemia such as your chronic myelogenous leukemia and hair cell leukemia, and even your Gaucher's disease. Hyponatremia, hypothermia, okay, during cardiovascular surgery, platelet sequestration in spleen and liver that causes usually temporary thrombocytopenia. Post-surgical thrombocytopenia with coronary bypass, ECMO due to platelet damage in the circulation. And massive blood transfusion, the stored platelet lose a viability and are removed in the body. So other causes, chronic condition such as renal failure, severe iron deficiency, megaloblastic anemia, and chronic hypoxia. Your post-compression sickness due to vascular endothelial damage can also cause this delusion. Next is thrombocytosis. So the increase of your platelets. So thrombocytosis typically exceeding 400,000 per microliter. This condition can be classified in two main types. So your reactive thrombocytosis and your myeloproliferative thrombosis. So for the reactive thrombosis, this is also known as secondary thrombosis and temporary elevation due to inflammation, trauma, or other underlying condition. And the common triggers for this reactive thrombocytosis are your acute blood loss, which is usually normal, surgery, specifically with major blood loss, okay, splenectomy, iron deficiency, chronic inflammation and disease, and your Kawasaki disease. Okay? You could also manifest this exercise-induced thrombocytosis and even rebound thrombocytosis. Okay? For associated with myeloproliferative disorder, your primary thrombosis, or also known as your essential thrombocythemia, a chronic myeloproliferative disorder, uncontrolled platelet production that persists a count of more than 1,000 per microliter. Okay? Caused by clonal expansion of abnormal stem cell. And the clinical signs, so usually they could form clots in small blood vessel, specifically on your finger, toes, okay, or your digital, that could manifest with digital pain and even gangrene. And even in major arteries such as in leg, heart, and kidneys. They could also manifest with hemorrhagic events such as your GI bleeding and your epistaxis. There could also be erythromyalgia, the burning pain of your extremities due to the clotting. And your primary thrombocytosis, the diagnosis is usually large abnormal platelets present on your blood smear and even increased megakaryocyte in your bone marrow. The lack of epinephrine response as to platelet aggregation is also a test for your essential thrombocythemia. Treatment option for mild cases, we only observe and we use low dose of aspirin. In severe cases, myelosuppression therapy, okay, such as your hydroxyurea and anagrelide, interferon alpha could be utilized. Also, JAK2 mutation, positive patient, we could use your ruxolitinib or your Jakafi. So that's all for your quantitative.